Hi guys, this week we're going to be covering chapter 4, which is all about elasticity. And so there's two real kind of general types of elasticity. The first is what I'm going to be talking about in the discussion questions, which is really just the steepness of the demand curve or the supply curve. And we'll say if a demand or a supply curve is steep, that it's inelastic, and if it's relatively flat, that it's elastic. And so you can look in your book about the determinants of elasticity, whether or not something has a lot of substitutes, how much time you have, things like that, really determine whether or not a demand curve is steep or flat. Same with supply. So all that stuff is in your book, and that's what your two discussion questions are going to be about this week. Also, you're going to have a podcast homework assignment, so make sure you watch the video about that. And then lastly, and most importantly, I want to talk about what the chapter really means for price elasticity of demand, which is elasticity at a point. And so there's two ways to calculate this. The first way is the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price. And so that's really if I give you two different prices and two different quantities and ask you to calculate the elasticity. The second way is if I'm asking you to calculate the elasticity at a point on a demand curve. And in that case, you're going to use the second kind of formula, which is the price divided by the quantity of that point on the demand curve multiplied by 1 over the slope of the demand curve. And so both of those formulas are in your book, and just wanted to give you a heads up. That's really what's going to be asked of you on the homework and on the midterm is, do you know how to calculate the price elasticity of demand? Similarly, you need to know the income elasticity of demand and the cross price elasticity of demand. So those formulas in your book, the cross price elasticity is the percentage change in quantity demanded of good 1 divided by the percentage change in quantity demanded of good 2. And that one really determines whether or not goods are complements or substitutes. And so if the cross price elasticity is positive, the two goods are substitutes. And if the cross price elasticity is negative, then the two goods are complements. And the income elasticity is the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in income. And so basically that is telling whether or not a good is a normal good or an inferior good. And if the income elasticity is positive, it's normal. And if it's negative, then it's inferior. So I know that's a lot of information, but that's really what the most important things in this chapter are. Also, the kind of the price elasticity of supply is calculated by the percentage change in quantity supplied divided by the percentage change in price. And it also has the same formula, the P over Q multiplied by 1 over the slope of the supply curve, if I'm asking you for the price elasticity of supply at a point. And so the discussion questions are really going to be about what do you think would make a demand curve for a good or a supply curve for a good steep or not? And the questions on the homework, which you're going to get next week, are going to be really, can you calculate the price elasticity of supply, more mathematical. So that's it for this week. All right, guys.